Sure that okay, perfect. Welcome everyone. I'm going to start here in just a moment. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me and see me. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Great. Well, welcome. I know there are a couple of fresh faces in here, so I'll just introduce myself real quick. My name is Leanne Vogel. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, holistic nutritionist, and as Anita called me, a total freak over research. And I love being able to provide resources and tools for all of you, and I'm excited to go through this month's subscription call. I have a whole bunch of stuff prepared for you, including food logs. I'm going to be taking you through a bunch of days of my own logs so I can show you recipes and strategies and things that I personally use as a coach that doesn't have a lot of time. And the beautiful thing about this is my calorie intake has changed drastically over the last month. And so you can kind of see this transition throughout calories and macros, and it'll give you a really good understanding of tracking because I think a big question that I get oftentimes is just, okay, let's backtrack. A big struggle I see oftentimes is women feeling like they don't need to track or feeling like food tracking is just, do I need to do it? It's such a chore and I know what I'm eating. It's not that different. And I can tell you, I've done this long enough. Even myself, when I don't track in a day, I know that I ate more than I did. And I think I didn't, but I did. And when I ask my clients to just track their natural food, it's incredible the imbalance of their macros where they think they ate more protein than they did. They think they ate less fat than they did. They think that they were moderate with their carbs and either they're way, way low or way, way high. So when I'm speaking about macro tracking or body recomposition, I don't want this to feel heavy. So if you're just like, I have a goal of body recomp, I have zero interest in tracking my food, today I want to encourage you to at least track twice a week. Okay, just twice a week so you can get a pulse on things so that you understand different data points and you can see, oh wow, I'm noticing I'm stronger in the gym. Could this be because, oh, look at that, I'm eating more carbs than normal, just as a data point. So it doesn't have to be obsessive. Okay, but some of the items that I'm going to share with you might encourage you to track a little bit and understand stuff. Okay, so that's a big piece. And as we're talking about macros and calories and all the things, I think it's important to cover just what body recomposition is and what I'm speaking about when I'm talking about changing your body. Okay, so we want to shift the goal of shrinking our bodies to reshaping our bodies. When I ask clients, what do you want to achieve, when you're in your time with me, or what do you want to achieve this year? A lot of them say, I want to be X weight, whether that's, I don't know, pick a number, 160 pounds, 140 pounds, under 200 pounds, whatever the goal is. But when I deep dive with individuals, it's never really about the scale. It's about achieving a certain composition that they want. Like if you could be 20 pounds lighter, but have a puffy stomach, you'd be like, well, no, that's not the 140 pounds that I want. Like I want like somewhat, like nice shoulders and a slim waist. And it's like, okay, well, what you're looking for is more of a recomposition. Recomp means that we want to lose fat, keep, or even build muscle. So we actually feel stronger. We fit in our clothes. We have less pain in our joints. We have more energy. We're sleeping better. It's not about chasing a number on the scale. It's about changing the way that your body looks. And everyone on this call is doing some form of peptides, whether that be fit or lean or restored or whatever your combination is. And so many of us started with peptides because we were looking for that body recomposition, or we started peptides because we were curious about them. And then we're like, wait a minute, this could actually recomp my body. I want to get started on it. And we need to understand that muscle, okay, it's your metabolic currency. All of us talking about how we want to be metabolically flexible and metabolically healthy. when we have more muscle or when our goal is to at least preserve the muscle we have, we understand that muscle will burn more calories at rest than fat. It supports our hormone balance. It stabilizes our blood sugar. It prevents feeling soft and puffy. And we want to recomp our body by at least preserving our muscle or boosting our muscle and lowering fat. So that's what makes a recomposition, okay? Where we are in maybe a slight deficit, maybe even at maintenance to what our body needs as we're working out and building muscle. But our goal is to reduce the fat and increase or at least maintain the muscle that we have. So it's important to understand too that the scale will lie to us. Okay. I've seen that so much in the last month of my surgery recovery. The day after surgery, I was up like 6 pounds. How is that possible? I barely ate anything. Well, that's a lot of water and inflammation, right? And so, as we're even going through our cycles, if we're still having them, or stress, or different glycogen loads, or workouts, our weight is going to go up, down, up, down, up, down. You've seen it. It's made you crazy. You're like, I ate perfectly yesterday. Why am I up 2 pounds? It's not actual fat. And so, the scale will lie to you. So, if you lose 2 pounds of fat, but gain 2 pounds of muscle, the scale is going to say that nothing happened, but girl, like everything just happened. Like that is incredible. And so when we're talking about body recomposition, it's going to take a little bit longer, okay? But the changes are lasting and the metabolic health that we achieve through this is aces. So your clothes are going to fit differently. You're going to feel lighter, stronger, tighter. Your energy improves. You're not chasing weight loss. You're building your body back better and building a stronger baseline. And how this kind of morphs into the conversation about peptides is like if we've had any individual conversations, I've usually said, if you're going to start with one bioactive peptide, I suggest it should be fit because fit is your absolute foundation. It supports muscle recovery, lean tissue retention, also while you burn fat, even if you're not working out. In fact, just this morning, I posted results of one of the ladies doing the peptides, and she used to be a fitness instructor and she has not worked out at all, even though she says, I should be working out, I just haven't gotten to it. And she's still losing weight on fit and she's still recomping her body. She's maintaining muscle mass, she's reducing her fat because when we reduce our calories, unfortunately, if there's no stimulus, if we're not working out, if we're not doing progressive overload, we will lose muscle. So we need to maintain muscle, and fit is the best way to do that. So even if you are not working out, your fit is going to maintain the muscle mass that you have while we reduce the fat. And that is absolutely essential. Then we have our lean. So that's going to help with regulating our appetite, supporting visceral fat loss, especially belly fat, blood sugar balancing, food noise. This is an optional one. Like, not everybody needs lean. Hydrated kind of supports the whole process. Remember that when we're doing peptides, okay, we need to make sure that the cells are super hydrated because the peptide messengers, those little molecular messengers, have to go into the cell. In order for anything to go into the cell, we need to be well hydrated. And so that's why the hydrated electrolyte, specifically with glycine, which helps with better hydration, is part of many of your stacks. If you're doing peptides, you should be doing some form of electrolyte. If you are just doing fit and you're like, yeah, no, I add minerals to my water, that's not enough. You have to be on an electrolyte. I don't care which one. I recommend hydrated because it's a good amount of sodium. It's not too much, it's not too little, it's just right, and it has the glycine. Then we have calm. So this helps regulate your cortisol and support your nervous system, essential if we're doing peptides and you're just frazzled dazzled. So if you're feeling wired but tired, and you're kind of in that state of not being able to rest, peptides won't work as well. And so oftentimes I will fold in calm into custom peptide stacks for people that require that. Then we have the focused. So that supports our mental clarity, motivation, drive, right? Because if we're taking fit and we're like, okay, I'm going to start taking fit. I'm going to start eating better. I'm gonna start going to the gym. I'm gonna start walking. That's a lot of I'm gonna's, right? Um, if the motivation isn't there, a lot of stuff ain't gonna happen. You can have all the I'm gonna's, and if you're not motivated, it's not gonna anything, right? So focus can be really helpful to boost that motivation and drive and really keep you staying consistent on all those I'm gonna's, which I think you should just start with one at a time to be like super consistent in one and like totally win before you move on to the next, but live your life. So then we have the energize. So that helps restore like clean, steady energy without super burnout. And so oftentimes if individuals say like I need better stamina or I need better output or I'm just lagging behind, this can be really helpful to add. And then restored, sleep is essential for all things. We know this. So restored is going to help with a deep restorative sleep without the grogginess. A lot of moms take this while their babies are needing to be fed and all the things at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're able to get up, do stuff, go back to bed and not be groggy, unlike melatonin, where you're just totally a mess. So we're taking Restore to help with recovery and muscle repair and regulating hormones like overnight. So if you're waking up at 3 a.m. and you can't get back to bed or you're having a hard time falling asleep, Restored is awesome. So let's talk about when we are wanting to lose fat, build muscle, or maintain our muscle, depending on what our goals are. Oftentimes, there comes a point where there's just like a lull in our progress. Okay, so let's define what a lull is because it's really, 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 really important that you pay attention to this. Okay. I highly recommend when you first start with peptides, if your goal is body recomposition, go get a body scan. Now, the creme de la creme is a DEXA scan, but they're really expensive or really challenging to find. If you have one in your area, go do it. That's awesome. If you don't, in-body is a good one, or any sort of electrical charge is fine. The compression testing is good too, where they kind of like put you in a pod and they compress. Though I went to one and it was like I could get in there one time after another, like in the same day, the same session, and the percentage was really, really off. I think that had to do with the tech because many of my clients have pretty good success with that. But again, Dex is going to be great. And I would assess your body composition, understanding your fat and your muscle every 3 to 6 months to just understand, is what I'm doing working? Or do I need to make shifts to what I'm eating, how much I'm walking, what I'm lifting or not? Okay. So a lull would be you get that body scan and nothing much has happened. Okay. A lull could be maybe if you're using the scale responsibly and you're looking at your averages, you're getting on the scale every morning, you're looking at the averages, you should see like 0.25 pounds reduction every week. Okay. Every week, not every day. Okay. You're not going to go compare Monday to Wednesday and be like, what the heck? I'm up 1.3 pounds. How does that work? No, you have to do an average of every day over the week, getting on your scale every single morning to really get that average. So let's say that it's been like 2 to 3 weeks and nothing's really happening and your inches are staying the same, your weight is staying the same. Here are some things that you can look at. First is intake. Most of the logs that I look through, and I look through a lot of logs on a weekly basis, the individuals that have the most challenging time with their goals is when they have a day where they just weren't hungry and they ate a coffee, then a little bit of lunch, and then a dinner, and it came in at 800 calories. The next day, they're starving to death and they ate 3,000 calories, then they go back down to 1,200 calories, then they're up to 2,500, blah, 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 blah. And over the week, usually those individuals are under their intakes by a significant amount, but they're being ruled by this constant starving, 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 eat everything, not consistent, not hitting their macros, kind of all over the place situation. Another thing is inconsistent protein. So logs where we have, a goal of maybe 120 grams of protein, and though I will never understand it because I actually have to control how much protein I eat, they can't get over 120 grams of protein. I wish that was my problem. I'm constantly over 200 grams. And like, how do we struggle with this? And so I'm going to take you through some logs and ideas when it comes to protein, because if this is what you're struggling with, you came to the right gal, because I have no problem with this and I can tell you everything that I do. Um, Another issue with lulls is missing micronutrients. In fact, I was cooking my dog's food right before this. That's why I'm so hot. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so hot. I was just over the stove. Um, their micronutrients have to be so dialed in. Like I weigh everything. I make their food, I weigh everything because all their nutrients have to be super balanced, just like humans, just like humans, but we don't pay attention to this as much for ourselves. And so if we're consistently lacking in magnesium or we consistently lacking in sodium, it can create that lull. Another lull issue when we're just plateaued is movement. So, is your walking actually consistent? Because what you think you're doing for walking and what's actually happening is probably not super accurate. In fact, when I started tracking my walking, I was sure I was hitting 10,000 steps a day. I'm like, all I do is walk. It was 3,000 steps a day. I'm like, really? That's really lame. Okay, cool. Yeah, I have a ways to go. And so, is your walking consistent? Are you going to the gym with the goal of progressively overloading your body? So, are you going to the gym? Are you doing, let's say an RDL, and last time you did 20-pound dumbbell RDL. Why not try 22 and a half? If you were at your max amount of reps last week, you should be able to do the 22.5. You might not be able to hit 10 reps, but you can maybe be able to hit 8. Great. And start working up. That's progressive overloading. And you need to truly be pushing yourself. If your goal is maintaining muscle, okay, and you're just like, I don't want to go to the gym, I'm not there yet. I know if I make that goal, I'm not going to be able to stick to it. That's fine. Okay, so then your goal is maintaining muscle. But for those of you who want to start building muscle, we actually have to push ourselves. Okay, and that doesn't mean going to classes. Like, unfortunately, I've not seen really good structure to a class. And if you just look at the individuals, take like if you know me, you know I have zero judgment for people's bodies, like at all. But if I walk into a class and not one of the people in that class have a body where I'm like, I want to work just as hard as them and achieve that thing, like they are smoking. That's what I want. Then probably it's not the right class. If there's not just at least a couple of people that are like, yeah, I've been doing this class for like 3 years, it's the best thing, right? So taking a look at the class and the structure, I would say get out of the class, have fun in the weight room. It's not just for men. In fact, I can't tell you how many times I've been lifting or moving stuff around and men like are saying, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're doing this. Like, so they want us there. Don't feel intimidated. Just get in there, get it done. And you'd be surprised how much support you get when you're in there. Another lull to it is an improper peptide strategy. So, and I sound like a broken record on this, and I will continue to say it over and over at every single call. And maybe you already know what I'm going to say. Stop taking lean only. Okay. If your goal is to recomp your body, you need more than just lean. If it's just one peptide that you want to get started with, fit. If you want another peptide for recomposition, probably lean. But if you're just stuck, and I shared, the strategy around peptides earlier where I was talking about each one, if when I was talking about that, you're like, oh shoot, am I on the right stack? Reach out to me. Let's go through it. Maybe you're not. And maybe you're not on the right stack for the goals you have now. Maybe when you started with peptides in September, we had a goal of calming inflammation, reducing stress, and having you sleep through the night. But now you're sleeping through the night, you're less stressed. Maybe you don't need the similar supports. Maybe you're ready to start going to the gym and we need to start adjusting your peptides. Just like a proper protocol from a responsible practitioner, your supplements change based on what your body is telling us The same thing goes for peptides. I am not on the same peptide stack that I was on last year because I have different goals. I'm not taking the same amounts. When I had my breast explant, I was doing two fit peptide a day. I stopped taking lean because I could care less at that point, and I really drove in the fit and the calm and the restored because I needed that at that point. So just because you had a goal of X 3 months ago, we can shift the strategy as we go. And sometimes with that shift, it can bust through a plateau or bust through a lull that you have. So let's go through some of the logs that I have. Now, I just exported them from my Fitness Pal for myself personally, so hopefully they're not terrible. So I will share my screen with you. Hopefully it'll be the right one. And I will, okay, can you see a food log? Diary for December 18th. Okay, great. We're on the right track. Okay, so we can see here. Now, I use my Fitness Pal. I love it because I can save all my recipes in it. I can save all of my favorite meals, and it's really, really easy for me to do. Okay, so I highly recommend my Fitness Pal if you're going to track. So, my goals you can see down here at the bottom. Now, this was 3 days post surgery for me. And I know that my maintenance when I'm working out is around 2,000 calories a day. But when I wasn't working out and going through surgery, I bumped up my protein a little bit. I dropped down my carbs a little, well, a bunch actually, and I kept my fat the same. So I was pretty much on target. I was a little bit over carbs. I wasn't worried about it, and I was a little bit over on fat. Now, this is a nutritionist doing this, okay? Your macros are not going to be perfect. You're going to see, like, I don't do it perfectly. That's okay. Like, don't stress. I've had clients say like, I'm 1 gram over in carbohydrates. What should I do? And I'm like, it's fine. It's okay. Like plus or minus, you're okay. So I want to kind of take you through how I do this. So if I'm going through a very busy season, I will plan out what I'm going to eat the day before. So right before bed, I'm like, okay, I know I have chicken. I know I have this recipe. I'm going to put this here. Da, da, da. Okay, it adds up. And then the next day, I just eat what I told myself I was going to eat to just keep it really simple. Another strategy, you're going to see recipes like this EX chocolate mint protein bar or EX turkey bean chili. Okay, this book, I don't know. Oh, I hope you can see it. Oh, my stupid. Oh shoot. Okay, no. I will include a link in the chat for this recipe book that I have. It's Yum and Yummer from Greta. She is the most fabulous Canadian that I know other than myself. No, I'm kidding. And her cookbook is incredible. The macros are on point. It's easy to add more protein to the recipes, and it is just literally the best cookbook. And so all of my recipes saved in my Fitness Pal are from this book. And once a week, I'll choose one recipe from the book, and all of them take less than 20 minutes. In fact, one of the soup recipes takes literally 5 minutes, and it's the best. And so I will grab the link for the book and put it in the chat right now. Let me grab the link. Do, do, do. Chat. Okay, here's the book. So when we're going through my logs and you see recipes, that's where they're from. Okay. And I do adjust the recipes when I save it in my Fitness Pal. I'll say like, that's not enough protein. I know that my goal per meal is around 40 grams of protein per meal. So I just need to bump up the protein a little bit, etc. So I can plan for it. Okay. So for example, this day, it looks like I kind of did a mishmash of things. Some chicken. Oh, I know what I did. Yeah, this is a good one. So I pre-cooked chicken breast in my Instapot. I shred it up so it's really, really easy. I mix hummus with lemon juice to make a dressing. Okay. It is the best. And so that's what I had there. It's just like a little salad with some broccoli sprouts, a crushed up egg. It was probably hard boiled, with some hummus dressing. Then we have the mint bark. This is literally the best. It's just yogurt with protein powder covered in melted chocolate. It is so good. And an apple. And then I did half a serving of turkey bean chili. And of course, I eat cookies. So I tracked that cookie. I ate that cookie. Total cookies, chef's kiss. Hearts of palm. This is one of my favorite recipes, and I mixed that with edamame beans. So you can see the protein, 157, a little bit lower than I normally do, but most of you will have a goal of at least 140 grams of protein, and that seems so simple. One of the meals had, protein powder. All the others are just whole food protein. Does that make sense? Okay, sharing the next one. I really need multiple windows. This is ridiculous. Diary 2. Diary 2. Okay. Another example. You'll notice, okay, protein still around 150 post-surgery. I like cookies. You see? Another day with cookies. I eat a good amount of those cookies. Okay, so again, you can see the protein each meal. I try to aim for at least 30 grams per meal. Okay, any of the recipes you're gonna see, they're from that book. Let's go to like a different day. Let me see. Let me find a different day, different structure. It's funny, like they're all the same because I literally eat the same because I don't want to be stressed. So here's another day. Okay. Fiber bars. So it's like this little thing that I bake. Again, the recipe's in the book. Um, some eggs. I love just hard boiling eggs in the Instapot and just having them for quick protein. And if I find them over on my fat, I'll just take the yolk out, save it in the fridge, and give it to my dog as a snack and keep the egg white if I just need a little bit more protein. The Suja Uber greens, I'm literally drinking that right now. Sometimes I find like I don't get enough vegetables in the day. Like this day really sucked for vegetables. And so I'm like, oh, I should probably have a juice. Um, Salad all prepared in my fridge. The chili was frozen. The cookie is there, obviously. And then I did, oh yeah. Sometimes I'll just do yogurt with a little bit of chocolate chips on it. And like, look it, that's not even really a meal. It's like yogurt and chocolate chips with a piece of chicken breast. But hey, that's what I had for dinner that night. That's fine. Like, it doesn't need to be this whole thing. I guess my friends call it a girl dinner, where you just put a bunch of stuff on a plate and call it a meal. And that's okay too. Okay, let me look. Yeah, cookies and popcorn. That's a really big theme for me. Cookies and popcorn. Okay, so you're gonna notice, if you haven't already, you don't see a lot of protein powder, right? So, for example, here's a day where I had 2 servings of protein powder, but this is half a scoop of protein powder, and then later, half a scoop of protein powder. I try to limit my protein powder to one a day. It usually doesn't satisfy. Like I had a little chia pudding right before our call, and that was maybe 45 minutes ago, and I'm like, okay, I'm hungry. That didn't do it, you know? So, protein powder is nice, it's convenient, it's better than nothing, but I'd rather see whole foods. Okay? Whole foods will win all of the time. Okay, and you see how many recipes are prepared. Like hearts of palm, chicken rice soup, repeat with those recipes, and then just fill in the gaps, right? So you can see how I filled in the gap with this meal one. I had a fiber bar. You can see that protein sucks. It's 20 grams. That's not enough for a meal. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll do half a scoop of protein powder to boost it up to 30. Okay, meal two. That's pretty easy because there's shrimp. Shrimp is my favorite thing. So I'll just roast a bunch of shrimp in the air fryer. It takes 10 minutes. Throw a bunch of dressing on there. I make a dressing with almond butter, coconut aminos, garlic, and ginger with a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Whip it all up, put some coleslaw on there, call it a day. 55 grams of protein. Like, and that's 200 grams of shrimp. That's really not a lot. That's like a little bowl of shrimp. 55 grams. Done. Okay. Hearts of palm. This is a beef base. I use an organ mix for this recipe. And the chicken rice soup, I usually take the rice out of it. I don't like this recipe with the rice, so sometimes um, I won't add the rice to it. Another really great way to get fiber in, because though this tracker doesn't show it, all of these days are over 45 grams of fiber. So one of the ways that I make sure I get enough fiber is that's it, fig truffles. One serving is 15 grams of carbs, 1.5 grams of fat, and 7 grams of fiber. Yes, please. So highly recommend finding those. I purchased mine from VitaCost, and I may or may not buy like 30 bags at once. I have a problem, but I always hit my fiber. So there you have it. Okay, let's move to this day, day 10. Sharing screen. This is the last one. Then we'll move on. Okay, another great way to get protein in when you're on the go and things are crazy is Love's jerky or any sort of jerky or biltong. I don't rely on it heavily, but in a pinch to just bump up protein of things, it's nice to have protein sources just kind of like easy and accessible. Love's truck stop makes the best jerky, and every time I drive by one, I pick up a whole tub. Biltong from who makes that? It's like Naked Biltong. It's like a blue package. I get it on Amazon. That's another good one. Or even tuna packets, not the cans, but the packets. They're really easy to travel with. Keep them in your purse, that sort of thing, and be that girl that eats tuna in public, and everyone will love you for it. Um, so you can see here again, all of these meals. Oh, look, candy, Swedish fish. I measured that. It was 30 grams, ate that, right? So you can see cookies, popcorn. Like I do have fun with my meals as long as it, evens out and I don't feel restricted. I think that's really important. We can recomp, we can eat the popcorn, we can add the olive oil, we can have these tasty things and track it and be aware, okay, this is how I'm feeling when I eat this way, how much fiber am I actually eating? How much fiber do I need? Like these are all questions and very good questions that we could ask as we're going through this, right? Okay, I'm gonna unshare my screen now that I have 5 million windows open. Let me get back to my notes. There we go. Okay. Protein. Let's get a little deeper into it and let me know if you have any questions on what I just shared. It's always like a little bit vulnerable sharing your food logs. You can see I like snacks, I like treats, and I don't try to limit myself, otherwise I go mentally crazy. And so it's really important to me, to have things like the fig truffles that are high in fiber or Toto cookies that are a good balance and healthy ingredients where I can enjoy that, put it in the microwave for 15 seconds, savor that, enjoy it, as opposed to don't eat the cookie, Leanne, don't eat the cookie, Leanne, don't eat the cookie, Leanne, and then all of a sudden I've eaten a whole sleeve of Oreo cookies, right? Like that's at least how I am, and I know how many people are. So more protein strategies because I do notice that this is such a struggle. First off, I don't think you need a crazy amount of protein. A good goal when it comes to protein is a little bit less than the amount that you weigh, as long as you're under 200 pounds. So let me go through an example. You're a 150-pound woman who's not working out. I would put your protein intake anywhere between like 125 grams to 130 grams or so. If you're a 150-pound woman that's working out, 150 grams of protein. If you're a 175-pound woman and you're not working out, I would put it at around 140 grams of protein. If you're working out, 175 grams of protein. You see the pattern there? Okay, if you're over 200 pounds, here's a fun trick. You're going to go to the Google machine. You're going to put in your height. Okay, so maybe you're 5'10" like me, and this is how I know. I think the number is 165 centimeters. So 5'10" equals 165 centimeters. I'm going to eat 165 grams of protein. Okay, so if you're over 200 pounds, we don't want to be eating 200 grams of protein. Oftentimes that's too much. And so you're going to use your height in centimeters for your protein goal. Yeah, it's a fun trick. Okay, so more protein ideas. 3 eggs and half a cup of egg whites. That's 21 grams of protein. That's awesome. So you like scramble eggs with more egg whites, call it a day. Greek yogurt, 3/4 of a cup, I think is around 20 grams of protein. Chicken sausage, 14 grams of protein. I don't love sausage. I think the balance of macros is just off. So I more aim for like chicken than a chicken sausage, but live your life. Uh, protein, protein oatmeal, like having half a cup of oats, which have protein in them, plus a protein scoop of protein. I mean, that's 30 grams of protein right there. Grilled chicken, 15 ounce. That is 15 ounces of grilled chicken. That's literally the size of your palm. It's so baby. That's like 40 grams of protein right there. Okay. Turkey is a great option. Turkey breast. Oh man, that stuff is good. That's 30 grams of protein for a little bit less than your palm size. Tuna, I eat probably tuna twice a week. It's the mercury reduced, is it safe catch, mercury tested tuna? I mean, that's 36 grams of protein in that tin. There's no reason why you can't set a 30-gram protein a meal goal and get there. 6 ounces of salmon, that's almost 40 grams of protein. Ground beef, that's 30 grams of protein for about 5 ounces, right? So there's no reason why we should be under 30 grams per meal. So my goal is always 30 grams of protein per meal and at least 5 grams of fiber, but like 10 would be awesome. And just, tracking and seeing, ooh, how can I add more fiber to this? Green beans are a great way. Kiwi is a great way. Those fig truffles are a great way. Okay, another question came in about creatine this month. So let's talk about it. So, creatine is stored in your muscles and it basically helps you lift heavier. It helps you recover quicker and feel like more energized in the muscle, if I can explain that. So, it's basically regenerating ATP, your body's burst energy fuel, and supports therefore strength and lean mass, because you can imagine if you're lifting, you're doing shoulder press and your shoulders get totally gassed, you take a 60-second break, the creatine allows you to recover from that and then do more. Okay, so do we need creatine if we're not lifting? Probably not. Creatine has been used for brain function, but you need a pretty good amount. I think it's like 10 to 20 grams per day, which is a significant amount. There are individuals who get creatine puffiness. I do not care what Bob says on his YouTube channel about how women shouldn't be getting puffy. That doesn't even make sense about creatine. I've seen it and it sucks. And so if you're lifting and you're wanting to have that short burst energy in the muscle, 5 grams is great. Now, research says that combining electrolytes with creatine works really well. So, what I do before I work out or anytime, you can do it literally anytime, it doesn't matter because you load it in the muscle and then it's just in. It doesn't matter when you take it before or after. I always take my creatine with a packet of hydrated. And I use the Creapure creatine. It does make a difference. I swear to you, I feel a difference when I'm doing just regular creatine monohydrate versus creatine Creapure. It's a little bit more pure. It's great. So 5 grams a day, anytime, with or without food. It doesn't need to be in your pre or post workout. And you don't really need it if you're not lifting. And if you're just getting started with lifting and you're not there yet with progressive overload and you're not really pushing yourself, you don't really need it. So I would say, like, if you are not working out or thinking about working out in the future, maybe set a little calendar reminder for yourself in 3 to 6 months. Am I working out 3 times a week and pushing myself? Now would be a good time to start creatine. Leanne said Creapure is awesome. Um, yeah. Let me see if there's any questions. Uh, yeah, so creatine can slightly increase your creatinine levels. And so if you have CKD, I would definitely ask your doctor about that. I don't want to say yes, no, maybe so on that. So I would ask your doctor. Um, Before we get to the Q&A, do you guys want to do a giveaway? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, I have restored. I have restored. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so I have three sleeves of restored, and each sleeve is good for 15 days so that each of you like have a better chance. We'll do like three. Okay, so that's half a month and you can give it a whirl. Okay, so find where the chat is. Okay, situate yourself because I'm going to ask a question and you got to type really fast. And then I'll choose a winner and I'll get a pen ready to write down. Oh, I don't have a pen. So this is live. Leanne is a mess. Okay, winners. I'll write it down. Okay, are you ready? Tell me what's been keeping you up at night. Go, go, go. What's been keeping you up at night? Oh, micro tracking. Okay, girl. Okay, macro tracking. Okay, the first one was Kim Mac Rosenberg. Okay, so I'll send you a text. Okay, girl. Macro tracking should not keep you up at night. Maureen, I hope that something that I shared today was helpful, but if when we open it up to a Q&A in a couple of moments, if you're like, you lost me at protein, feel free to tell me and we can go through more of it. Okay, next one. Okay, get your fingers ready. I'm gonna choose the most creative one, I think, this time. Okay, the question is, what's your number one non-negotiable nighttime routine? Like, what do you have to do in order to fall asleep or like get ready for bed? Floss. Anita, I feel you on that. I don't know how people do not floss. I I can't. Okay. Bible reading, winding down, putting on essential oils. Ooh, this one's tough. Um, I'm gonna go with Bible reading, Caroline. Caroline, do you want to just direct message me your last name so I know who you are, so I know who to send it to? You have my text. You could just text me and tell me it's me, this Caroline. Um, okay, last one for restored peptide. Let's go with ooh, here's a good one. What hasn't worked for you for improving your sleep in the past? Like melatonin, like what? What has not worked? Melatonin. Valerian root, putting my phone away. CBD, melatonin. Yeah, melatonin's a tough one because melatonin is a really strong detox agent that it will actually cause you to detox heavy metals while you're sleeping, and parasites. So it can actually boost your awakeness and make you feel terrible. So it's good to take it with a binder, actually. Pro tip. Okay, I'm gonna randomly choose. I'm just gonna close my eyes and move the chat up and down and choose Michelle Lopez. Okay. Okay. Yay. Fun, fun. Okay, so I'm gonna put these aside and I'll send those out this week. Kevin actually just got me a new label printer, so you're gonna get it with my new labels. Yeah, I ship everything myself and it makes me really excited. Okay. Um, let's open it up to a Q&A. Whether you want to, let's start off first with chat Q&As because some people don't want to like be on video because this is recorded and I want to make sure that people that have questions that don't want their face to show up on a recording can ask a question. So if you have a question that you want to type it up. And then if you have a question that you want to like unmute yourself, give me like a couple minutes to answer the text questions first. And I'll take a drink while I wait. Get my vegetables in. Hmm. Great question, Anita. Do I need collagen if I'm taking the breakthrough stack? So the breakthrough stack is restored, lean, and fit. And because fit is in there, I really, really don't think you need collagen. Okay. Um, do I want to go more into it? Yes, I do. Okay. So collagen is kind of an archaic way of doing what fit can do better and quicker, more efficiently, and less expensive. Like a really, really good collagen will run about $150 a month. Fit is $120 a month. So already it's less expensive and you're achieving more and you're going at the actual stimulation. Whereas collagen is just the bricks that show up in the body and the body gets to dictate. With fit, you're telling the body what you need it to do. So I would say no. Okay, these are great questions. Okay, Jamie writes, how long does it take to see any results from Restored? I've been on it for 2 months and haven't noticed anything yet. Jamie, that's too long. Yeah, no, it's not for you. With Restored, okay, let me back up. With Restored, two major things are going to happen. Okay. One, your sleep should get better. Okay. So you should be sleeping deeper, longer, more rested. You're waking up more refreshed. The second thing, which you might not be tracking, Jamie, is your heart rate variability. So your heart rate variability should be increasing on Restored. So if you don't already, you can get like if you have an Apple Watch or an Aura Ring or a lot of these wearables will track your HRV. In fact, some mattresses do now. I have a client that submits her mattress data to me and it tells me her HRV. And so your HRV is your heart rate variability. It's a variability between your beats. And you want it to kind of sound not like this, but like dun 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 dun. You want it to be different, not boom, 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 boom. And the more variability there is, the healthier your nervous system. So before you're like, Restored is not for me, I would check your heart rate variability before taking Restored and then while taking Restored, because Restored can also reset your nervous system. And though sleep might not be working super great, your heart rate variability may have increased. Okay. So I would check that out. And then another thing is Restored, I find for some people, needs to be combined with something else. Not for everyone, but for some people. And so sometimes it can look like if Restored is helping you fall asleep, but not stay asleep, then the staying asleep item you could add is liquid valerian root or THC if you're comfortable with that. And so oftentimes I find women, especially in perimenopause, menopause, we need like a lot of help with sleep. And it's usually not just one thing, unfortunately. Sometimes it is. For some of us, it's just one thing. And for others, it's even just a dynamic flow throughout the month. And so if you are in perimenopause and you're still getting a cycle, but it's not super consistent, you may find that the longer you go between your periods, the more support you need for sleep. So say you've had a period and you're like sleeping really good until about day 25, and then the pressure starts to build, and now you're at day 40, and now you're at day 60, and you still haven't gotten your period, and you're really sleeping terrible. You're going to need more support on day 60 than you did on day 15. So it might be like tracking your cycles a little bit and realizing, okay, Restored works from cycle day 15 to 45, but come 45, I need to add a little bit of THC in there also until I get my next period. And then once we experience menopause, it's honestly usually an adrenal situation. And in that case, I would add L-theanine before bed, valerian before bed, phosphatidylserine could be a good combination with the Restored, and that can just help kind of cover all bases. Okay, next question. I have a client on GLP, a relatively high dose, who has over 70 pounds to lose. Does GLP counteract the peptide stacks like Fit and Lean Restore? I'm so glad you asked this. I actually have a podcast episode releasing soon on GLPs and combining them with bioactive peptides. Okay, GLPs. A couple of issues with these is that oftentimes they're going to reduce muscle mass, and so fit could be great for that, as is working out. That is a non-negotiable. Another issue with GLPs is nervous system dysregulation. Okay, so restored, just like we said, restored helps with HRV and increasing it. Restored, perfect. Lean. I would say, did you ask about the, yeah, I would say like if I was gonna choose lean for an individual on GLPs, it would be an individual who said, I've been on them for a while, I'm interested in reducing and slowly coming off of it. That's when I would add lean. I would more so hit it with fit, restored, maybe calm, even if the nervous system really, really needs support. And then another piece on GLPs is the issue with gallbladder and liver imbalances while we're on the GLPs and just triggering actual GLP creation that our bodies do. And so proper liver and gallbladder support is essential. Now, when it comes to peptides, we don't really have a means of supporting the liver with peptides, but I would say for sure fit and for sure restored for somebody on a GLP. I was kind of cheeky about the macro tracking. I actually love it, but I do get burnt out from time to time. Oh, Maureen, me too. Let me tell you. Yeah, I agree. So when I get burnt out, okay, the best thing you can do is start planning for an untracked day. And this is not, okay, an untracked day is not, I'll eat whatever I want day. It's just, I'm going to do the best that I can in choosing foods that I know work well for me, and I'm not going to track today, and I'm not going to have anxiety about not tracking today, and I just need a day off. And I want you to take one of those a week, and let me tell you, it is the best ever. Like just don't. Today is one of my I'm not tracking days. And I might even go in, like I'll usually write down on a piece of paper what I ate, and then the next day I'll go through and just add it to the log so that I have it because I'm a nerd and like I really like numbers and data, but you could just be like, no, I'm good. I'm just not going to track that day. And it's fine. One day of untracked where you set the intention of I'm just going to try my best today is like good and can really, really help with not feeling the burnout. I just heard an influencer coaching women over 40 say that the protein in bone broth isn't complete and doesn't count toward protein macros. Is that accurate? It is accurate. Okay, so bone broth protein or collagen is lacking in tryptophan. Also, if you notice the amino acid profile, you start to notice things like leucine are quite low, usually about zero point 0.8. In order to trigger muscle protein synthesis, for leucine, we need at least 2. And so already it's low in your profile. So here's what I do as a little workaround because I'm sensitive to dairy, I can't do protein that's awesome like whey that will trigger muscle protein synthesis really well. So if you're looking at using some sort of protein powder, I wouldn't suggest more than one serving a day. Hydro beef is a great source because it does have enough tryptophan that it can be considered a complete protein. How you can tell, if you look at the back of a protein bottle, like protein powder, you're going to see the protein grams, like 21 grams, and right beside it, there should be a percentage. If there isn't a percentage, it's not a complete protein and it doesn't totally count toward your protein goals. Now, when I'm tracking, you saw I eat pinto beans and edamame, and that counts toward the protein goal. If you find that you are an individual that likes more of the plant-based or incomplete proteins like collagen, you're just going to have to increase your protein goal. Or here's what I do. I'll use the hydro beef, which already comes with a percentage, but the leucine is going to be quite low. I just pair it with an amino acid. So an amino acid blend. I personally use Kion aminos and I just mix Kion aminos in with my protein shake. And I personally use pure paleo I think they just renamed it, but it's from Designs for Health. They have an hydro beef protein. It is sweetened with stevia. So if you're avoiding that, there are some brands that use hydro beef that don't use stevia. And then I just add a scoop of aminos. Dorothy, do I need a fish oil supplement when I use Fit? Primarily with fish oil, the goal that we're doing with fish oil is reduction of inflammation. Fit is doing that in spades. Don't bother. Yeah, I've seen enough blood work that I can say that like with full certainty, the amount of blood work I've looked at and seen Fit do wonders for inflammation. I don't think you need both. Do you recommend a wearable tracker? Which one? Oh, okay. I I really need to work on this year, but I don't care enough that I'll probably work on it. Like, so I have an Aura ring. I don't love it, but I still wear it because when I don't wear it, I'm always curious, what's my HRV doing? Like, how was my sleep? And just the data points. But they keep changing the stupid app that it's just so inconsistent with data. So if I could go back, I'm not sure that I would choose an Aura. But I don't know enough about others and don't have enough personal experience to say for sure like what would be better. If based on what I know now, like maybe a Whoop band. I don't love when I'm looking at my husband's Apple Watch data, I get really frustrated because there's so much missing. So yeah, like I've just been stuck with my Aura ring and it's good enough that I don't care, but the step tracker is so wrong. It is so wrong. A great example of this, I was post-surgery. I was literally sitting in bed all day doing literally nothing, nothing. And it said I got 4,000 steps. And I'm like, but I really didn't. And so oftentimes the step count is about 30 to 50% higher than realistically it is. So if anyone has a wearable that they like super, super love, feel free to post it in the chat and I'll mention it. Otherwise, I don't like, I'm happy enough with Aura, but I wouldn't recommend it because if you get it and you spend the money on it and then you're like, Leanne, this actually sucks. I don't want to be held liable for that recommendation. So I don't have like a super great recommendation for you for personal use. My HRE hasn't been increasing on Restored, and I have been on it since the introduction of it. And I'm assuming Michelle, or your name wasn't Michelle, you said it was Tracy. I'm assuming Tracy that uh you are my HRV hasn't changed. My HRV hasn't been increasing or restored, and I've been on it since the introduction of it. Yeah, girl. Send me a text. Let's talk about your peptide strategy. Like, let's just go through it again and make sure that we're on the right track with it. I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Awesome. Um, if I haven't seen any major body recomp changes yet, will Restored help? I've been taking Fit and Lean for 3 months. Michelle, this is a great question. Okay. To the beginning of our conversation, kind of talking about the lulls, I'm going to hit you with a whole bunch of ideas. Okay. Don't do everything. Don't get overwhelmed. I'm just going to throw it at a wall and we'll see which sticks. So, major body recomp changes. Are you going to the gym? If you're going to the gym, are you going at least 3 times consistently, ideally 4 when you're at the gym? Are you like pushing? Like really like, is it hard? You should feel it after. Are you on the right program? Who made your program? What are the goals of that program? What goals do you have for composition? What are you trying to work toward? Like, do you want, chiseled shoulders or biceps or abs? Like, what is the goal? And is the workout program that you're doing aligned with the goal that you have? If you're on a bro split, meaning each day, like you do back one day, hamstring one day, quad one day, you're not going to see a lot of recomp changes. Another thing, have you added sprints? Yeah, we did a whole class on this. And if you are using the peptides right now and on this call right now, you have the metabolic reset I sent you. If you don't have access to that and you don't know what I'm talking about, send me a text and I'll send you a copy. It's 36 pages. And in there, it goes through how to do sprints. Sprints are great. Then, if you're not working out at all, Now's the time to start. If you're not tracking your food, could be beneficial to track that and kind of see and also work through your macros. Also, in the metabolic reset guide that I sent you, it's 36 pages, that document, it goes through how to track your macros. That's what I would see, I would look at. And if you were like, yep, I'm doing all that, yep, 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 then it could be that we're on an improper stack for you. Like, if your nervous system is super dysregulated, it could be that we need to add a little bit of nervous system regulation. If you're not taking an electrolyte, I would start with that. So those are some of my ideas. My HRV was the highest ever last night on Restored. Even got a notice that it was out of range. Yeah, well done, Melody. That's great. Um, Elizabeth says, what are some of the reasons why Restored doesn't increase HRV or improve sleep? Because bodies are complicated and everyone needs a little different thing. Unfortunately, it makes our job as coaches so fun, right, Elizabeth? Um, One thing I have noticed is some people's nervous systems can't handle the amount of GABA in the product. And so some people's bodies see it as a relaxant, like it helps calm them down, and other people see it as a stimulant. So that's one of the reasons why. And just like anything, like it, the reason why I was so interested in the bioactive peptides is because of the stacks, because of what we're building. But we have to understand that no body is the same and not everything is going to work wonderfully for every single person. And so it could just be not the product for the individual. And then it's about assessing like what are the things standing in the way? Is there some sort of issue where it's dropping HRV, like in the case of mold? If we're in a moldy house, we can take restored left, right, sideways, and inside out, but generally speaking, the HRV is going to continue to be very low, and sleep is going to continue to be not very good because our bile is not being released properly, we're not detoxing our hormones, etc. Um, Use TUDCA still for liver support. I really like TUDCA. I wouldn't suggest that we're on TUDCA for like ever, but TUDCA is a great liver support for sure. I'm wondering if lean can cause gas. Since starting it, I feel like I have started having gas more frequently, but I also started increasing my carbs at the same time. Up to this point, I have been mainly low carb. Bringing up your carbs can definitely cause gas because you're bringing up your fiber also and all the stuff you're having to digest. So it it usually, in my experience, lean is usually not great for individuals with a history of or an active SIBO infection, but generally speaking, it might cause bloat. But like gas, I would guess it's more the carbohydrates. I think the only way to really assess maybe is to like go off the lean for 5 days and just kind of see, is my gas better or worse? Or I would start there as opposed to dropping your carbs and just kind of see if you remove it after 5 days, how's your gut feeling? If you bring it back in, how's your gut feeling? And then assess from there. Melody says she loves her Garmin. Okay, over Fitbit. Nice. Um, Let us know which one you have that you love, Melody. I had a Garmin forever ago and I really enjoyed it, but that was ages ago. Versa 3. Melody says Versa 3. Okay. I'm following the metabolic reset protocol. I'm lifting heavy 3 days a week with one sprint day. Will this help get rid of belly midsection fat? I'm on fit, hydrated, restored. Okay. So lifting 3 days a week with one sprint day. So once you've mastered one sprint day maximum, I would do two if you start to notice a lull. It depends how long you've been doing this for, but will it get rid of belly midsection fat? So we can't target fat loss in an area. Unfortunately, like genetics dictate a significant amount in that area. And I find like a lot of the influencers on Instagram, we're very, very thin to start off with, and their progress pictures are them gaining muscle and looking more muscular. And so when we're looking at these bodies, we need to understand that primarily these are not the bodies that we started off with. And so there's that piece. And it's also when we lose weight, our genetics generally dictate where we lose the weight from. I don't know about you, but it's always my chest, and that's great. Or my butt, which I want to be bigger, but it never is. And so you might be plagued with the struggles that I have also. And so to be able to fully help with midsection fat, sprints are the best way. Lean, making sure that we are being responsible with our carbohydrates and not blowing through fat intake, or I want to say calorie intake, but your peptide strategy is on point for your goal. And then I would just, when you're feeling really good with the one sprint, you could add a second set of sprints. You could even go as much as 4 days a week. And so this might be a little bit drastic, but it's the only thing that works for me. I need to work abs every single time I'm in the gym. If I want to keep like a flat stomach with some definition, unfortunately, if I cull back even one workout on my abs, they disappear. So you might be like me and just need to hit it. Also, make sure that abs are actually part of your program, and weighted abs are the best way. So making sure that you have some sort of weight aspect in your abs and you're hitting them for like 10 minutes until they hurt like crazy. Calm is good for general stress and burnout, stress at work every day, for example. If so, would you take it earlier in the day? Your guide says after 2. I take Calm usually around 11 o'clock in the morning after my workout to help settle myself after having such a nervous system stimulating activity. So there are some people that when they take Calm, they literally fall asleep. So make sure you like test this on a Saturday where you have nothing to do after, because I don't want you to be like driving and then sleepy and then that's not good. Um, and so, yeah, I would say you could take multiple times a day. The reason I say after 2 p.m. is it can make people sleepy. So just test that before you try. Melody says, my Fitbit was the Versa. Sorry, my Garmin is Venu. Venu. Yeah. Woo. Okay. I'm starting to lose my voice. So we're gonna call it. Yeah, totally. So, next month, February 1st, I'm going to release the call date for for February. It looks like we had like a good amount of participants, so we might try to aim for a Saturday again, but text me if Saturdays are poopy and you don't want that. But otherwise, this was really fun. And always, if you have ideas for the call, when I share the call details, you can always just say, hey, can we cover XYZ in the call? Because you guys told me this is what you wanted, and then I just put together all my ideas on it. So I'm always open to suggestions, and it's really driven by what you need in the month. So you just let me know, and I will serve what I got. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining in, everyone. And feel free to text me if you have any questions about what we covered today. And if you need me to redo our peptide strategy or you're stuck on something, that's why you have my number. And I'm happy to help in any way that I can. So have a great rest of your weekend. And I will see you next month. Okay, bye, everyone.